Hello, today we're going to be talking about 9 misconceptions that people have about the IELTS exam.
Phil, it's 11.
11 misconceptions that people have about the IELTS Grind. My name's Phil.
And I'm Michael.
And you're watching the IELTS Grind.
Remember to like and subscribe.
Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing, I see this all over the web. I don't know why people think this. People say that you must make eye contact with the examiner. If you don't look at them, if you're looking off to the side or you're looking down, you're going to get a low band score. Pure nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, body language has nothing to do with it. I mean, it's nice if you make eye contact. It means you're not weird. But as long as you're clear, it's fine.
When it comes to communication, it's true that spoken word is like 10% of language, but in the IELTS, it's the only part that counts. So it doesn't matter about making eye contact. In fact, if you stare at the examiner, you're just going to make them feel uncomfortable. Oh, I'm getting a little bit uncomfortable.
Hello.
Let's see how long we can let this roll for. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm finished.
100 words. I talked about everything.
Okay, so the next kind of myth is to do with word count. So, as you know, as you should know, for task 1 in the writing, you need to write a minimum of
150 words.
For task 2 in the writing, you need to write a minimum of
250 words.
So, what happens if I write 149 words or 249 words, for example? Am I going to lose out? What's going to happen?
Well, from what I've heard on the grapevine, it's changed a bit.
Yeah.
In the past, if you were even a few words under 150, -1 for task achievement.
Yeah.
Like
so -1 band score. Yeah.
For task achievement.
To task achievement, yeah. Which is, if you know, you're graded in 4 different criteria, which is so task achievement, task response, depending on if it's task 1, task 2, and then there's grammar, lexical resource, and
CC.
Yeah, coherency and cohesion, or coherence and cohesion. Yeah. But there is kind of a bit of a caveat here.
Yeah.
So if you are sort of a lower level student, what we would say about band score 6 and below, it really does matter.
Even 7 and below.
Even 7 and below. 7 and below. It really does matter that you hit those minimum targets. However, for higher level students, bands,
this is like 8s and 9s.
8s and 9s, it is possible to really write a good report or an excellent essay.
Describing everything with fewer words.
Yeah.
But that's only because they have the lexical resource, they have the vocabulary and the grammatical knowledge to be able to say everything very succinctly.
Yeah.
Like they don't need many words to describe all the significant features, the details, and the major trends.
So I think we agree that for the vast majority of you, you should be hitting those minimums. So practice that at home.
What it comes down to is, did you talk about everything in the graph? And if you're a 7 or below, you really can't do that with less than 150 words.
Yeah.
Hey buddy.
Huh?
Do you want to buy some IELTS questions?
Ooh. Okay, so it's very likely that you've seen some YouTube channels or even some websites where they're giving questions from the year that you're taking your IELTS, so this year. And that might seem a good thing. However, if you were to memorize all of the questions and go into your exam and give memorized answers to the examiner, they are not going to take those answers into account. So that basically means that if you were to answer every single question with a memorized answer, then it wouldn't count at all. So this just means that you're going to get a lower score than you would if you just went and did the test normally. The other thing is that part 1 questions are much easier for people to remember after the exam because they're more straightforward. But when it comes to the abstract questions in part 3, People don't really remember them as well because they're just a little bit more complex. So this would mean that if you spent time memorizing questions that you're not going to hear or not hear in the same ways you heard for the leaked questions, it's just a bad use of your time. So although you can't escape the fact that sometimes you're going to hear what the topic is for that particular year, just use your time wisely. Don't spend time memorizing answers, rather look up vocabulary and just think about what you would say for each of those topics.
What you would say.
What you would say. Okay.
You'll have 1 hour to complete the reading test. Can I have some paper? No!
So the question is, what is easier, the computer-based test or the written test?
They both have their own advantages and disadvantages, right?
So basically, I would say that if you are someone that types quickly, then perhaps the computer-based test is better. Personally, I have very, very bad handwriting, so I'm much more used to typing on a computer. However, you were telling me a very interesting story about a student who's doing the reading paper on the computer. What happened?
That I've heard this happen twice now from my students, where for the reading tests, when you take the paper exam, you can write on the paper.
Yeah.
Because they keep it, which is great because you can circle answers, take notes, write where the questions numbers are next to the paragraphs, and when you're taking the computer tests, they don't. Now, I always told my students, you can ask for some paper, because that makes sense, right? Like, if you want to take notes, you can take notes on paper. And I've had my students tell me they asked for some paper and they only got a pencil.
Yeah.
And so what they ended up doing was they were taking the reading and the listening tests and they were writing on the table.
But if they had the task 1 question where it's about how to make paper, obviously they had the raw material. They could have followed the process and made their own paper. Maybe that's what the examiner was trying to say.
Yeah. Here, make it yourself. It's like an IKEA interview.
Yeah. So the point is, the computer test itself is not any easier than the written test and vice versa. They are the same exam. It's just how you take it. If you're
your preference.
Yeah. If you feel more comfortable writing by hand, then do the written paper. If you feel like you like typing better, then do that. However,
there is one more advantage for the writing, which is it's really easy to move your sentences around.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. But apart from that, there's no difference that we know of. So don't use that to make your decision. Should the media be censored? Just ask me a question! Okay, so a lot of my students have said to me that they thought that you can never ask the examiner a question, but this isn't true. Okay, you can certainly ask the question. You can certainly ask the examiner to repeat a question. You can even ask them to explain a question if you don't understand. But the thing is, when you're asking a question, make sure you ask the question that you really want to know the answer to. So if you don't understand a question, then say that you don't understand and you need an explanation. If you haven't heard the question, don't ask them to explain it. Because later if they repeat the question and you don't understand it, then they won't be able to tell you what it means.
I think we did a whole video about this, right?
We did.
Task 1. Line graph. In conclusion, the data
No!
There are 3 things that I always tell my students for task 1. No I, no why, no conclusion. Okay, you do need an overview. Okay, you need an intro, you need a body 1 and a body 2, but you should never be talking about yourself. You should never say, I think.
No.
You should never give reasons for things. You should only describe what you see.
Yeah.
Never say why something is the way it is.
Yeah, so you don't have to have a conclusion in task 1 because you don't have a thesis. However, for task 2, you definitely do need a conclusion. So task 1, that word in conclusion, that phrase, forget about it.
You should only be using overall as the CC word to say, this is my overview. And I recommend it's in your second paragraph, just a 1-sentence paragraph. That's just your overview. And we explain that in another video as well.
Yeah. So remember, no conclusions in your task 1.
It's really catchy, right? How does it go? No I.
No why.
No conclusion. Hey, you. Do you want to buy a certificate to an IELTS exam? 6.5.
Ooh.
So, can you purchase a certificate for the IELTS exam?
You can, but it won't do you any good.
Might put you in jail.
Don't do it. Yeah, I see a lot of these kind of scam ads on a lot of Facebook groups, and they say basically, oh, you don't even need to take the exam. You can get a proper certified IELTS certificate in 2 days. How?
This is fraud.
Yeah, you cannot do that. If you're buying any sort of document that you need to get into university, or even worse, into a country for your immigration, that is going to land you in a lot of trouble. So don't do it.
Yes, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Now, if you want to get rich by Bitcoin in 5 days, you should buy my book.
Hey, Mike, do you want to go get a drink tonight?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I can't. I'm really busy tonight.
Oh, what are you doing?
I'm going to Spain.
Why are you going to Spain?
Because I heard it's easier to get an IELTS band score 6.5 there.
Right, so we've heard quite a few people, quite a few of our own students that have come to Taipei because they thought for some reason in Taipei you can get an IELTS score much higher than you would in other places. Apparently it's easier here. Do you think that's true?
No.
No.
It's a standardized test.
Yeah.
There are standards, you know, and they're all across the world.
Yeah.
It's
the same test, guys.
Now, if you do want to come to Taipei,
yeah.
call me.
Oh, God.
Phil, what's wrong?
I only got a band score 6. I can't go to university.
He can't go to university. Is that true?
Okay, so for many of you, in order to go to university abroad, you're going to need to get at least a 6.5. At least that's what everyone thinks. However,
it's true if you're going to be getting directly into your coursework, you do usually need a 6.5 for most majors. However, a lot of colleges are starting to offer a foundation program. And what this means is that if you can get a 5.5 on your IELTS exam, you can go to the university early, usually between 4 to 6 months, and take the foundation course. And then after having completed that, you can then carry on with your courses.
Yeah, so all things are not lost. However, if you can, do try and get your 6.5 and it will save you several months.
And money too.
And money too.
Yes. You need an 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Watch this video to find out how to get a 9 on your IELTS exam.
No, watch this video, how you can get a 9 on your exam.
No, watch this video. I can guarantee you a 9.
I can get you a 10.
What? So I see these...
Okay. You cannot get a band score 10. That was just a joke. Sorry, you were saying?
Yes. Yeah, the highest is a 9.
Yeah.
And by the way, all those people who get a 9 on your IELTS exam, I'm sorry. Unless you are an 8.5 or, basically an 8.5, you're nowhere close to a 9. Like, you guys are watching this video because you are probably a 5 or 5.5 or 6, and you want a 6.5.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why those people are marketing themselves as get a 9, because no one needs a 9.
Yeah, very, very few people. I did have one student who was going to go to the UK to be a doctor, so he was going to go to medicine school, med school, and he needed 8.5 across the board, as far as I remember. That was a very rare case, though.
Super rare. The only other time when I've seen people needing even an 8 is, you know, for immigration. Like, there are some countries that have a point-based system where obviously the higher IELTS score you get, the more points you'll be able to get for your application. But even then, it's like an optional thing. Like, you don't need that 9. Do you know why it's so difficult to get a 9? Because a 9 means you're indistinguishable from a native speaker.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to get there.
Yeah, I mean, Mike sounds almost like a native speaker, but he's American. I mean, it's nearly native. But seriously, it's just one of those things. Yeah, it's great to watch those videos. How do you get a band score 9 in your writing? But for most of you, it's so far from where you are, it may be a little bit counterproductive.
It's a waste of time. Learn what you can to be improving your grammar and vocabulary, but set your goals realistically, because you can achieve them. It's very doable to get a 6.5. It's even doable, it's a lot of work, but it's doable to get a 7. Yeah, that's silly.
Work hard.
Yeah.
And if you want to know what to do, then we've got a few videos where we go through the marking criteria for writing and also for speaking. If you're interested in that, you can check out the links in the description below.
See you there.
Before we go into the very last myth that we want to bust, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give us a like. And
if you have heard a myth, or if there's something about the IELTS exam that you don't know about, leave a comment down below and we will get back to you with some answers.
Yeah, definitely.
I can get you a 9. All you have to do is buy my audiobook and listen to it 5 nights in a row. I guarantee it. No refunds.
I can get you a 9 in one day. All you have to do is click this button. That's it. Nothing else.
Are you going to steal my information?
Maybe. Right, so basically I see a lot of people out there advertising services for the IELTS, and they're trying to make it seem easier than it is. So basically you can move up 2-3 band scores in a matter of weeks. In our experience, that is extremely difficult to do, even for the best students.
Because, you know, the IELTS exam, it's testing your ability to take the test, which is pretty easy to improve.
Yeah.
But it's also testing your general English ability, and that takes time to improve. It takes time. It takes a large period of time to be building up your vocabulary and your grammatical resources to get there. Like, it's
a grind.
It's a grind.
Yeah.
As we say, IELTS isn't easy.
It's a grind. But we don't want to discourage you. We're not saying that you cannot obtain your objectives. You can't ever, you know, follow your dreams of studying abroad or moving abroad. But you have to be aware that it does take work. And if you just believe people that say, you know, you can improve overnight, I think you're just going to be wasting your time and your energy, and unfortunately, probably your money too. So that is another myth that you should be aware of.
Now, there is one little caveat. If you already have a high general English ability and you're just a bad test taker, yes, you can improve really quickly.
Yeah.
But most of you guys are not in that boat. Most of you guys are at the level you are because that is your level.
Yeah.
Like,
So, yeah, sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
dear. Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck, guys. Remember, IELTS isn't easy, but you can do it. We will see you next time.
See you next time.
Peace.
Whoa. Okay, so Okay.
I like the ooh. That was great.
Okay.
You now have 1 hour to complete the reading section. Can I have some paper? No!
Let's do that again because I know you were going to do that. Okay.
Okay.
I think we think this is more funny than it is.